What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you guys are having a very lovely day today. And today's video is going to be a little bit different because I want to talk to y'all about some of the City League matches and City League decks that we're seeing in Japan on Limitless TCG. Now, for those of you that don't know how Limitless TCG works, you can literally just type into Google search Limitless TCG, and once you get to the main site, you can click on tournaments or decks or tools. Tools actually bring you to the deck builder, the beta, right? So this is where you can start typing in and build your decks, and you can also import these decks from other tournaments that you see on Limitless or you see in City Leagues, and then you can import them into your Pokemon play. But what I want to talk about is the tournament. So you click on the tournament tabs and you go to City Leagues. I am super excited about the upcoming Gloria Team Rocket set. I know so many people are so butthurt about, you know, how the illustration rares look or how the special illustration rares look. And I feel like those are people that are not a part of the trading card game community, right? They're more just the collectors, right? So as far as like the people that are worried about the playability of the set, i.e. me, I am super freaking excited, and most importantly for one card and one card only, and I'll get into that in a second. But looking at the one tournament that I do want to take a look at is the second Tokyo option, and that is because of this third deck list right here, this third place deck list, Dragapult and Slaking EX. This is just wild, guys. I never thought of combining Slaking EX and Dragapult, and I did want to combine them and play it on the ladder. However, there's one key card that hasn't been introduced yet, and it's going to be introduced in the Gloria Team Rocket, and that is Team Rocket's Watchtower. The coolest thing about this card is that colorless Pokemon in play have no abilities, right? So you're shutting off things like Fan Rotom, Squawkabilly, and I'm blanking on some of the other Pokemon right now. But most importantly, right, your Slaking EX now doesn't have an ability, right? So it's not being disrupted, because for those of you that don't know what Slaking EX's ability is, it is Born to Slack. If your opponent has no Pokemon EX or Pokemon V in play, this Pokemon can't attack. Well, when Watchtower is in play, it no longer has that ability, so it can swing for 280 damage with its Great Swing attack. But like I said, this Watchtower card is going to not revolutionize the format, right? But it's going to make me happy, man, because that Terra Box deck with the whole Fan Rotom, pop the fan call, get the Noctowls in play. Oh my god, dude, I hated Noctowl. That was the other Pokemon I was thinking of. But anyway, so I'm just super excited for the stadium. But this deck, the fact that it got third place, again, Dragapult is no doubt, no competition, best deck in format, right? So you are going to see Dragapult at the top of the ladder for however long, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Dragapult and Gardevoir are the two best decks, with, I'd say, Goldango bringing in the rear at like number 3. But anyway, so the idea of combining these, right, and then combining it with the Psyduck, guys. This is another card that I'm super excited to introduce into the format because it has an ability. Pokemon with an ability that cause the Pokemon to knock itself out don't have an ability, right? So the Pokemon you should be thinking about are like the Forretress EX, the Claydol from Obsidian Flames, Starmie from 151, and more importantly, the Magneton, and I forget, I want to say it's Stellar Crown. I'll double check where Magneton came from, but basically the Magneton that has the ability to explode itself, discard itself, and then accelerate energy from your discard to your electric Pokemon on the bench, right? This Psyduck shuts that out, which is crazy, right? The fact that this deck only got third place, kind of shocking. However, right, you are playing Slaking, which, I mean, again, they do have the Neo Opera energy, right, in order to, you know, power up both the Dragapult and the Slaking. Does make sense. You do run the 2 Boomerang energy, but this deck is a little clunky. I really want to play around with it on the ladder, right? But without the Watchtower, you're not shutting down the Terra Box decks, and, you know, I think it needs a little bit more refinement, but this is one of those decks that I am just losing my mind about, and I hope you guys are actually coming on to Limitless and taking a look at some of these City Leagues and seeing how these other decks are performing, right? Because you're going to see so many different combinations of decks, and then one of the other things that I saw was Dragapult with the Xatu combination, which, you know, for some reason is getting a lot more popular on the ladder and getting popular in the format. But the other addition that I'm seeing in Dragapult that everybody needs to worry about is the Genesect, right? There's a Genesect in the format that has the ability, the Ace Nullifier, where if it has a tool card attached, your opponent can't play any Ace Spec cards down, which is insane because you're shutting off literally every Ace Spec card in the format, like Unfair Stamp, which of course this Dragapult EX deck runs, which Unfair Stamp is just, oh my god, dude, it's one of my least favorite Ace Spec cards to run into, and so utilizing that Genesect is just super superior. But anyway, yeah, as far as Limitless is concerned, there's so many cool decks that you guys can look up and see what's performing well over in Japan. And even if we click on Osaka, we can see the first place deck list was Arch Rowlodon Monkey Dory, which actually I saw on the ladder quite a bit today while I was playing around, running Maximum Bell, and I don't know what this card is, Team Rocket Surprise Bomb. Flip a coin. If heads, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Wow, if tails, put 2 damage counters on your active Pokemon. Cool. So either which way, you are manipulating damage over to your opponent's bench as long as you have Monkey Dory in play, right? So that's actually really cool. Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that being run on the ladder because that hasn't been introduced yet, but that is actually really cool. What a great idea. I see this Gloria Team Rocket, man, as far as playability goes, I am so freaking excited. Now, other deck lists that we are seeing in here this is another one I want to run, and that is the Ethan's Ho-Oh. This is so freaking cool because I'm hoping to play a lot more Armar Rouge, and especially Armar Rouge EX on the ladder. I'm not seeing any of it in Japan, but Armar Rouge EX is probably one of my favorite Pokemon cards, and probably one of my favorite Pokemon currently. So any excuse to run a fire deck or to run Armar Rouge, I'm going to take advantage of. But Ethan's Ho-Oh, once during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic fire energy cards from your hand to one of your benched Ethan's Pokemon. Now, granted, once you do that, all you have to take is the baby Armar Rouge here with its fire off ability and manipulate that fire energy onto your active Pokemon. So if you have Armar Rouge EX in play, you can use that, or you can use Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon EX, which you can also use as an attacker against Cornerstone Ogerpon, right? Because it doesn't have an ability. So this is another deck that I'm really, really excited to run, and especially since you can incorporate the Regigigas into this, right? That is one of the cards that's like super key against Dragapult right now. If you're not running a deck that can't accelerate a lot of energy into play to utilize Regigigas as a single prize attacker against Dragapult, man, you got to figure it out, right? Now, sadly, Chen Pao's the one that I was trying to make work, but sadly it didn't, but that's okay. And another deck that you guys are probably going to see, and one that I hope to play a lot, is Cynthia Garchomp EX. And this is just super cool because its first attack does 100 damage for 1 energy, and it's also a draw engine. You can draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand, right? That's another one that I really want to play. And then its second attack, you are discarding the energy, but you just re-accelerate that with Blaziken EX. Like, that's going to be such a deadly combo. And again, you see the Psyduck making an appearance. Now, as far as the Spiritomb, what does Cynthia Spiritomb do? This attack does 10 damage for each damage counter on all of your bench Cynthia's Pokemon. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Could you imagine if you combine that with the Kuparaja EX, right, that does 30 damage to each of your bench Pokemon? That'd be kind of nice, right, to then run that, because it's only 1 colorless energy, right? Only 1 colorless energy to attach with this Cynthia Spirit Bomb, and I mean, it's kind of a nice counter against Dragapult, right? Because it's manipulating so much damage around. But anyway, yeah, that's actually a really fun deck. Now let's see what this other tool is here. The Cynthia's Power Weight. The Cynthia's Pokemon this card is attached to gets 70 plus HP. Yo. Okay, wait a second. Is there something lost in translation? The Cynthia's Pokemon this card's attached to. Okay, so if you attach this, my bad, English, I'm shocked, then Cynthia's Garchomp gets 400 HP. Awesome. Yeah, dude, I'm about it. But anyway, so no, I was just scrolling through Limitless today, and I was just trying to think of how many people aren't actually, you know, scrolling through and trying to see what cards they can add to other decks or to their favorite decks and make them more viable. But we have a deck like this Ancient Box deck that is playing Neutralization Zone, which is a little bit harder to play right now because so many decks play stadiums, right? But as long as you attach it in the end game, you should be fine, right? But it's also playing another Rocket supporter. We got Team Rocket's Petrol. Search your deck for a trainer card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Interesting. I mean, this is, yeah, it's a weaker and also a supporter version of Noctowl, which is actually really cool. Now, I wonder what they're grabbing with that. If you're playing this, you're going to grab a trainer card. I mean, are you going for, like, Ancient Booster Capsule, or are you going through... No, I mean, you're probably using it for Neutralization Zone, right? That is, honestly... really cool, right? It's a different than Colress's Experiment, right? Because you don't need to grab the energy. Now, playing one of them, maybe you want to play 2, but I don't know where in this deck list you would fit 2, unless you wanted to get rid of... Well, I wouldn't want to get rid of a Super Rod here or an Artisan. Maybe, yeah, maybe an Artisan is probably what I'd get rid of, because I'd keep the Monkey Dory and the Scream Tail, but you're not really attacking with the Scream Tail. It's more cannon fodder. I don't know. But yeah, so in case you guys do have any questions, you know, comment them down below, because I want to talk to y'all more about this and what you guys are anticipating as far as what the format is going to look like after rotation, and just looking at some of these new decks. I mean, they have me so freaking excited. I cannot wait till the Gloria Team Rocket gets here. And then there's another deck that I saw had another Blaziken that I'm going to have to pull up and take a look at here in a minute. But Yeah, like I said, so many different decks, and I'm seeing a lot of Charizard in Limitless right now, which shocking because Charizard I wouldn't say is like a super awesome deck to run right now, just because of how powerful Dragapult and Gardevoir are. But you know, super interesting. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy the video, please feel free, leave a like, drop a follow, and have a very, very wonderful day. Peace.